we have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
As Iraq veterans against the war, we are resisting an occupation we once risked our lives for. We swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, but we found out the hard way that the greatest enemies of the Constitution are not to be found in the sands of some far-off land, but rather right here at home.
John Boncour splitting the sky with us on the program today, folks. Deadline Live, I'm Jack Blood. He's a great friend of this show. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, he will. We get our friends' backs here, and that's why we've been a little unpopular in the organized movements. SplittingTheSky.net is one of his websites. John, do you want to give out any other websites? Your great video, Follow the Money on 9/11, is a must-see on YouTube for everybody else, but you got an autobiography out. Tell people how to find you and keep track of you.
Yeah, you can. I'd also suggest that when you go to SplittingTheSky.net, check out the interview I did with Chris Cook. That kind of lays out all the background to what happened with me and George Bush there. Basically, what happened, so I can recap here a little bit and give an update, is that I told the RCMP that according to Canadian law, that George Bush as well as Cheney and that whole cabal, right, that whole cabal was of neoconservatives, and basically are credibly accused war criminals, and as such should be banned from coming into this country, according to Lawyers Against War. And my lawyer from Attica, Ramsey Clark, the former U.S. Attorney General, and he said he had already advised me I had the right to make a citizen's arrest in the absence of the police establishment doing the job according to Canadian law.
Yeah.
And so subsequently, I asked them twice. I confronted them twice in a very civil manner, and asked them to arrest the known war criminals for torture and murder. 96 deaths known to date as subsequent to the tortures that were committed in Abu Ghraib, Guantanamo Bay, and many other so-called black sites, more like CIA sites. Throughout the world, in so-called the CIA's extraordinary rendition in torture-friendly countries. And so subsequently, looking at the atrocities and the lies that were committed by this, and how many people that died, including U.S. servicemen and women, and Canadian servicemen and women, how many people died going over there on false pretenses, artificially fabricated intelligence about weapons of mass destruction, so on and so forth.
How many have died in the last 6 months?
As we go deeper, we know that 9/11 was contrived on the inside in order to justify an incursion into the Middle East to get that oil, get that gas, take control of the Caspian Sea pipeliner and take care of and seize all that resource right there, and a big competition's going on between China with Russia and the United States with Israel. And so looking at that factor there, on the third attempt, I told him, if you don't arrest this guy for war crimes, I said, I intend to break the line and go and grab him myself and take him to your prisons and put him in there until he can be held accountable as a war criminal and be charged. Well, they sort of laughed me off, and some of them gave me some real strong depleters and told me to get the F out and everything else. And I said, I'll be back on the third attempt. So on the third attempt, I made sure I had a young filmographer by the name of Nathan Moulton. And you might want to check out here the We Are Change.
He's a great activist up there.
Calgary 9/11 We Are Change, or 9/11 Truth. And look up Nathan Moulton. He's got a new CD coming out called Activist, which basically is probably going to go viral.
Well, hold on a second. And he was also condemned by some of the Canadian 9/11 truthers for his Walmart video, which they thought wasn't, politically correct enough. I don't understand this thinking. I mean, we're in a war here.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. In a sense, I agree that there's many ways to attempt a revolution. You know, there's peaceful means, there's other means, there's many means by which to attempt change. And a revolution is nothing but change. And we have the right to change if a government man rises up and becomes a government that transforms itself into a tyranny.
John, let me stop you there because you're exactly right. It's a revolution, and there are many ways to fight the revolution. I have no problem with people going out and doing their civil informationing or whatever they do. I have no problem, but I don't like being accused of ruining 9/11 because I want to go out and maybe be a little more radical, or you're going to go out and be a little more radical. Why can't they just let us do our part in the revolution and just leave us alone and do their part in the revolution without the infighting and the criticism? You know what's funny is that we always hear about the infighting and the backstabbing, and living here in Austin, well, we enjoy that every day.
Yeah.
But it's not infighting if you're just being attacked by people who don't understand or appreciate that you have a different strategy.
That's right. That's right. And see, that's just it. I mean, when I was doing the research and putting out that and giving talks, that was really cool, and it was highly respected by a lot of people. But then some people, that were allies, after I made the move to arrest George Bush and was almost shot by snipers, Blackwater-type snipers, the same kind of Blackwater-type snipers that are assassination rings for Dick Cheney, who I believe, again, took Tim Russert out so he wouldn't be a viable witness in a court of law when real criminal charges for mass murders of 3,000 Americans come up against him. And when I attempted to make this move, I people frowned on it and people talked me down on it. And I said, but you know what? I could care less.
Yeah.
I could care less because I'm sick and tired of sitting back and sitting there yapping away that we got to arrest war criminals, or we need to arrest them, and then asking the same people that are part of the problem to be a part of the solution is not going to happen.
Splitting the sky. We just need a new investigation by the government into 9/11. Come on, give me a break.
This is the thing about it is we cannot wait for the government. The government is not the friend. They are the oligarchic controllers. They're the
court of public opinion has spoken, and they are guilty.
That's right. And look at all the research that's been done, and the brilliant research that has come out by people by David Ray Griffin and Tarpley and many other people that have contributed to the research and put it out there. The investigation has already been completed. We don't need something that we've already done the initiative to. All we need now is a war crimes tribunal to bring these guys up against for charges, and according to the law, they should be found guilty and executed as charged.